Hey guys, this is Jake from the Brotherhood Accounts. This week we're going over something that has been bothering me for the past couple of days. It's a topic that just kind of crept up on me and I didn't really realize it was there until word of mouth kind of brought it around. So I'm going to talk about that in this video. Before I get into it though, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel that you're on as well. And check us out there at the Instagram. I just want to remind you guys that this YouTube as well as our Instagram is a shared account. It is overseen by our lovely Will, and I share it with 5 other guys who go on their days of the week to post either on YouTube as well as the Instagram account. So if you want to ask someone specifically a question, make sure that you're going on those days, or if you're posting on like a Wednesday, just say like, hey, this message is for Cade, who goes on Tuesdays, and write your message and stuff like that. Just because, like, you know, like, obviously if you have a question for all of us, it doesn't matter who answers, but if you have like a specific question about maybe his video that he made and you didn't get a chance to write down your comment below because you want it to be private, just make sure that you're making sure that you're saying, sorry, I don't know why I had to say that twice, that you are just like letting us know who exactly you want the question, or who the question is directed to. Okay, discrimination. This is something I do not tolerate at all. I don't tolerate bullies. I don't think it's acceptable in the workplace or in school or outside in a washroom, standing in line. It's just not acceptable. It is not tolerated. I don't feel like anyone needs to feel that they're unsafe or that they're not accepted or that they shouldn't be in a certain situation or a certain place because of somebody else. So these past couple of days, I've been dealing with something from my school. I'm trying really hard to kind of protect privacy, but also kind of say what's going on. So there was a student who was completely fine with me, and then they learned that I was trans, and now they're not okay. And they have made it very apparent that they're transphobic and that they do not like me anymore. They have stated it to other classmates, and it's just kind of come down to bullying and discrimination, which I have taken action by talking to the authorities at the school, and we are going to make a plan to how to kind of deal with it. So I'm not going to get too much, like I said, into my personal situation. I kind of just want to talk more about it in general. If you're facing discrimination or a loved one is facing it as well, and some kind of like key strategies that you can do to help overcome it. So for me, when I first learned about this was literally on Sunday. I was very upset. I was very emotional. I was very hurt by it. I was extremely nice to this person. I listened when they needed to rant to someone. I was there for them. They had no problem with it until I was trans, and then as soon as I was trans, I was just kind of like shit to them, I guess, and that's very hurtful. And I was very shocked by the news, and quite frankly, my immediate reaction was anger. I was very upset, and I stepped back from the situation, and I was like, okay, I need to evaluate this a little bit more. I don't think that I need to message anyone right away. I don't need to attack anyone verbally or anything like that. So basically what I did was I checked all of the facts, which is something that is very hard for me to do, and I think a lot of other people as well, because we are so quick to assume and judge and things like that. So what I did is I made sure that I contacted all the parties that were involved and said, you know, politely and calmly, hey, this is what I'm hearing. Can you please tell me your side of the story? I would love to hear your truth. You know, everyone has their own truth, and once you hear it all, you're going to kind of actually understand a little bit of what happened. You know, I don't really like to assume. I don't like to hear, oh yeah, Joe said this, this, and that, and then I'm over here being like, oh, fuck Joe, like, he's such an asshole. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to go to Joe, and I'm going to be like, yo, dude, like, what are you saying, you know? Because honestly, when you call someone out, more often than not, they probably will tell you the truth, or if they're lying, you're going to know they're lying because they'll be so caught off guard because people don't expect someone else to call them out. So, if you really want to know the truth about something, make sure that you're really going to the sources and checking those facts, which is what I did. And I did get the truth of the matter, and it didn't make it any better. It was just still upsetting, but I wasn't as upset. I was able to articulate my thoughts in a manner where I was like, okay, these are the situations, here are some possible outcomes. But for me, I was so still hurt by the situation, even though I had outcomes of how I wanted everything to go, I wasn't able to see it to the end, you know? It was all kind of like blurry sort of thing. So I went to, like I said, my authorities, I went to my teachers and I discussed it, and they asked me the same thing. They're like, oh, well, what would you like to see happen in the situation? And I told them, I was like, I don't know, because I'm so hurt by it, I can't see exactly the end of the end result. And they were able to help me and give me some resources and things like that. So one of my suggestions for you guys, other than once you guys have checked the facts, making sure that you're going to authorities. It doesn't have to be exactly like police or a manager or a boss or a teacher or things like that, you know, just someone that you really trust and someone who's an outsider. You know, I could have gone to my friends and told them everything that's going to happen, but again, like, they're the same age as me. They're kind of dealt with it. They're in this situation as well. So it's a little bit harder for them to help me with an outcome, you know, so which is why I kind of went to someone who was outside of it. You know, you can go to a parent or an older brother and sister or a cousin or an uncle, or again, like, you know, if you don't have anyone to talk to, go ahead, talk to your manager if it's inside the workplace, and if you trust them, or go to a teacher and things like that. Just making sure that you trust those people that you want to talk to, and then, you know, let them know the situation. If you are dealing with discrimination or hate crimes or bullying in a workforce, make sure that you guys are going to your boss and manager. And if it is your boss and manager, making sure that you're going higher up to report them. Please don't sit there. Do not be embarrassed. I know how easy it is to be embarrassed and ashamed that these things are happening to you, and sometimes you don't want to speak up. But to advocate for yourself and to advocate for possibly other people who might also deal with this situation in the future, that you are bringing it to authorities' eyes and being like, hey, this is what's happening, this is what's going on, because this person will be punished and nothing bad will happen to you, you know? Obviously, the situation will be dealt with in a manner where, you know, not always names will be said. So, I mean, sometimes they will have to be like, okay, you know, I heard you're sexually assaulting or sexually harassing Brad or whatever, you know what I mean? Like, they will have to kind of use names, but sometimes in certain situations, they're able to kind of keep it where they don't have to. Again, you know, if you are afraid that you're going to lose your job or lose friends because of this, it's not a job you want to be in. They're not friends you want to have. It's not a boss you want to work for. It's not a teacher you want to have, whatever it may be. If those are your reasons, please just make sure that you know that you're better than that, and you don't need to stay in a job where you're being harassed and bullied by somebody else. You know, I do know that people are scared, especially in a work field where they don't want to report their bosses because they're scared they're going to lose their job. And I definitely do get that, especially if you've only been working there for, like, let's say like 2 years and this person's been here for 15. Who are they going to really believe? But again, like, it doesn't matter. Still say what you need to say. Still advocate for yourself. And you know what? You will be believed. You will be treated with honesty and respect, and they will take your side. Because this shit is not tolerated. Bullying is not tolerated. It doesn't matter who you are, how long you've been working for a company. It's not tolerated. It will be investigated, and it will be dealt with. So please don't be scared that, you know, if you say something, you're going to lose your job. Or if you say something, nothing's going to happen, because stuff will happen. And again, if nothing happens, and if it's in the workplace and you're being harassed by your boss, go to the police, okay? And quit your job, or try to find a way that you're able to move locations from your job and things like that. That's the best advice that I can kind of give. Obviously, they are tricky situations, so just making sure that you're really accessing resources, which kind of goes into my third advice, is to making sure that you're accessing those resources. You know, if you're starting to feel depressed or anxious or suicidal, or you want to bring harm onto somebody else or harm to yourself, making sure that you are accessing the crisis hotlines, that you're accessing the health clinics, and that you're speaking to your doctors, or you're speaking to health practitioner nurses and things like that, that you are making attempts and efforts to help yourself, and recognizing your behaviors and when they change, and making sure that you're not putting yourself in a situation where you're going to decline in your health. So that's something that I'm also doing as well. I'm making sure that, you know, I'm not putting myself in a situation where I'm going to feel uncomfortable. I do have anxiety that kind of runs alongside with BPD. You know, my mind kind of races a lot. It's something that I do struggle with. So in this terms of the situation that I'm dealing with right now, I'm trying to make sure that my mind isn't racing, that I'm not like, oh, well, this could happen, and this could happen, and this can happen. You know, just being very mindful, changing what I can change right now, and doing what I can do right now, and just really trying to stay in the moment and present is what I'm trying to do. So again, that's gonna be my fourth thing, just making sure that you're staying healthy and that you're being open-minded to the possibilities of change, but also making sure that you're not trying to change a situation that you have no control over. You know, like if you are going to report some sort of bullying or an incident, obviously things are going to change in your place or environment that you're in, but making sure that you're not eradicating the situation where you're constantly overthinking about it and being like, oh no, I'm going to lose my job, or I'm going to get kicked out of school, or this and this happened. Just breathe, relax, and deal with it one at a time. And that's basically my advice that I can give to you guys, just making sure that you guys are staying healthy with your body and mind, making sure that you guys are advocating for yourself, and making sure that you're bringing it to authorities' attention, and that you're checking the facts and getting all the information before you escalate a situation or before you take things further. Because then again, you know, people, I'm not saying that people lie about these things, but not everything you hear is how it is. So again, like I said, checking those facts and making sure you have everything before you go and present it to somebody else. You know, it would be a shame for you to just hear something from somebody else and then you go and report that person without checking everything out first, and then you guys lose their job and you found out that the person that told you wasn't telling the truth. You know, so just really making sure that you guys are checking those facts. Again, like I said, to recap, bullying is not tolerated, discrimination is not tolerated. It doesn't matter if you're gay, straight, bi, black, white, Hispanic, Muslim, Christian, Jewish, it doesn't matter. Discrimination is discrimination, and nobody needs to feel it. Nobody needs to feel like they're unsafe walking outside, going to the street, or going to their school or workplace. Nobody deserves to feel like they are belittled and not respected and they have no dignity. You know, you are beautiful and you're amazing and you deserve life and you deserve to be safe and you deserve an education and you deserve to work and make money. The best experiment that I could possibly describe this situation for, as in terms of discrimination, of how silly it is to do this to people, is there was a video that I watched, and it was a teacher. I don't know if they were a psychology teacher or not, but they had 2 eggs and they showed it to the class, and they asked them what the difference is. The kid said, this one's white and this one is brown. They're clearly different on the outside. Yes, like every single person, we are different. Our appearances do not match up. But when you crack the eggs open, they're exactly the same inside. And that is for us and how we are as individuals. If you were to cut us both open, we are exactly the same in the inside. So to discriminate against someone else based on their appearances or based on their religious beliefs is absolutely disgusting. And you have no right to do that. And you really need to be able to step back and reevaluate yourself and your values and your beliefs, because we're all the same inside, and discrimination is disgusting. It's disgusting behavior, and I do not tolerate it. So please make sure that if you are having biases or different value systems from somebody else, that is fine. Go ahead. We all are allowed to think our own opinions, but don't project them onto other people, and don't go around talking about other people like they're nothing and like they're worthless, because really it's a reflection of yourself and not the person you're talking about. So again, if you have experienced discrimination or a loved one is experiencing discrimination, making sure that you're advocating for yourself and advocating for them and sticking up for yourself and your rights. Thanks guys, stay humble.